Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final half of the second round of the 2020 Maricopa Open presented by Infinite Discs. We got Nick Newton along with Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, giving you guys the action for this Sunday morning round. And Nick, we've seen some pretty solid putting. We see Adam Hammes still with the lead, but you guys are trying to hunt him down.
Yeah, we got some pretty tight disc golf action here. I'm really stoked to be here to commentate for you guys. So let's see some awesome action. Cam starting us off with a pretty decent shot, getting himself pretty close to the basket, and these guys really liking the forehand here.
Yeah, and of course that sidewalk on that left side is out of bounds. If you go too far and long to the right, and you find yourself inside that, that landscaped area, that can also be out of bounds. So this is a little bit of a touch shot.
Right, being leaking left there is risking with the OB, and then like you said, being long right. But definitely, I think the more risky OB in your head is that left sidewalk coming in there. So just making sure you throw either a straight shot or having your forehand come in nice and soft is key here. And Henry's throwing this putter again. Just awesome shot.
Yeah, really going with the high route. And I'll say, after all the years I've been out here, I haven't seen too many people go that high up and then able to keep it that straight. It was a pretty impressive shot as Adam's lining up his birdie.
Oh, just short. This basket's put inside this little like ravine gully thing, so it's nice. Oh, I forgot about that one. Nice. Yeah, it's really easy to putt at this one and give it a full bid because it's kind of in this little trench. So if you miss, it kind of sticks near it. So able to give that a full one and connect for the solid birdie.
Yeah, that was at least 45 feet for you. Cam's closer than that, and Cam making easy work of it.
Yep, jamming out to some, I'm sure to some awesome, some rap or maybe some hip hop. And Henry with the CTP. Solid putt.
Yeah, so the three of you, all of the non-leaders, have picked up a stroke on Hammes here and get one closer to him as he remains at 26.
Yep, keeping it interesting.
Hole 16 now. I feel like this plays a little bit like hole, I don't know, the one after the square island.
I think that was hole 14 or 13 it was. Yes, it plays very similar. It's placed up on a hill. The OB on the left side is a lot closer on this hole, and this hole is definitely shorter, so it's about 300 feet. So I'm throwing a rock X3 there, just trying to float one straight and have a nice solid finish left, but I clipped the tree, leaving me at about 40 feet. Henry's throwing a zone, so it's about a true 300 if he's throwing a zone full power, and he hit the same tree I did, so making the same mistake.
This, I think, is the wasp that we saw a few holes ago.
Yep, and all of us hitting that one tree. Adam got fortunate enough to kind of bust through and give himself a little shorter of a putt.
Seems like there's a magnet in that tree somewhere.
Yeah, plastic magnet.
Uphill putt, you can be aggressive here.
Definitely don't want to leave it low. And I don't think I did that, just did not give it a chance. Left it right. Oh, and that's kind of what you don't want to happen. Leaving it low on an uphill putt, potential for rollaways, definitely. So you got an unfortunate break. Oh, Adam missing the short putt.
Monkey see, monkey do, unfortunately, there. And like you said, at least Adams did not roll away, so he runs up and taps in, and now you go from looking at a birdie to now having to stress a little bit, but he's got that.
Yep, Henry making a nice putt. Definitely a confidence booster right there, being able to connect on almost the same size putt that you just missed. And Cam, of course, he's going to make those. He's halfway through the round. He's feeling good. He's ready to go. I think we're not going to see him miss very many short ones from here on out.
Yeah, he sits at 22. He started the round. You're giving it a little lesson. He started the round one stroke better than you, And now after that birdie and your par, you guys are all knotted up, and you guys are just 4 back of Adam. This is far from over.
Yeah, I feel like with this back half of the course, it's kind of anybody's ball game. You know, all we're looking for is to try to give ourselves a good position on every hole, and it comes down to just putting.
Yeah, now that's a full-blown misfire, we'll call it, from Cam. We can't really sugarcoat that. That was, or maybe a little bit of a grip lock. He just certainly held on to that one too long.
Yeah, we can call it a yank for sure. And I'm throwing a pro destroyer there, just kind of on a big hyzer, letting the flip up get me the rest of the distance. I'm still probably, I would say, a good 45 feet short.
And now this hole is really unique, as we're, I think, going to see that the sidewalk that runs through it really kind of plays as a river, like an actual OB river. Is that right?
Yes, and Henry unfortunately slides directly onto the river. It is safe on either side of it, but just on it, it's super unfortunate. And Adam hitting the tree, luckily not landing on the same sidewalk, but he is not happy with that shot.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of interesting if you think about the bigger picture of course design in general. Adam throws a not so great shot. Cam throws a terrible shot, and they're both inbounds. Meanwhile, it felt like Henry, who was just barely off his mark, kind of unluckily is OB. Kind of makes you wonder.
Yep. It's kind of you have to hit your line on these holes. And Cam almost knocking it in from, had to be like 70 feet. He's not taking no for an answer on any putt. And like I said, maybe 45, 50 feet short. I'm just not ready to try anything stupid and just give myself the easy par.
So this is Adam to save his par.
Yeah, and hitting that tree on his upshot, it was definitely a misfire by him not really knowing where the trees were on the hole, and he'll have to eat the bogey.
So now Henry can save his par. He's actually about that high to the basket, and he actually does it, even though he was out of bounds. So relatively unscathed after the unfortunate OB.
Yeah, I do remember him being still kind of frustrated at that moment, and I was looking at him and was like, yeah, it wasn't a bogey, and he said the same thing. He's probably one of the most upbeat people I've had the pleasure to play with, so I hope to play with him more often here out in Arizona.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with his brother. I believe him and his brother have both moved to Arizona, but they have some Midwestern roots, and so it's great to see them out there, and hopefully we'll see more of them on some featured and lead cards.
Yeah, definitely. Hole 18, this is a nice short par 3. 281 feet, so you're throwing a spike hyzer. Cam showing you exactly how it's done. There is a hill right before the basket and a tree, so if you land it just and go over the hill, it kind of gives you a nice little roll down to the basket. The path does play OB, so you kind of want to make sure you get over that, and I barely get it over that. So, but you're going to see everybody pretty much throw routine hyzers. Oh, and Henry connecting on the tree, probably saving him from going about 25, 30 left.
And this is just one of those must-get kind of birdies. You know, you're looking sub 300 feet, wide open, throwing a hyzer, a little bit of a backstop almost, or a gully that it plays to, even though you're on this hillside, but you're inside 20 feet.
Yeah. Oh, no chains required.
Like none.
Like zero, exactly. Yeah. You'd be pretty upset not to get this hole, and end's in, guys. End is in.
It is. I would be willing to bet we could have you throw 50 more of those putts, and every putt would hit more chain than what you just did there.
Yeah, and I probably would not take that bet because you're definitely right.
Either way, a 2 is a 2, and it's a star frame. We'll move over to hole number 19. We've got about a third of the course that remains.
Yep, and this hole 19, 365, is just a nice turnover shot. You just got to make sure the disc is on that angle and flying turned over the entire way. And the sidewalk's OB long, so you just want to make sure that you stay turned over because the sidewalk pinches over tighter to the left. And I'm showing you exactly why you don't go left.
Yeah, it seemed like maybe you just, I don't know if you weren't fully committed to the turnover angle or if it was just more stable than you thought it was, but it just seemed like it kind of turned up on you and hyzered out.
Yeah, it's a new TL in my bag, so it definitely needs to break in a little bit more, and I didn't trust it enough and didn't commit to the turnover, and that's what happens when you don't have a full commitment on a shot. You have to be 100% devoted to which way you're turning the angles.
And if you've got the raw power like Adam does, you can go with the forehand.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the 365-foot forehand.
So here I'm probably about 80 feet. Just trying to get myself up there and
Sweet.
connecting on a nice par.
Who is that? Cam Messerschmidt? What's going on?
I felt like him in a moment. I felt like I stole some of his power, but really happy to save the par, not take a bogey, and kind of still keep myself in the hunt. It's a really good feeling. So
Nice. It's Chris Cobb, helper extraordinaire, all-around great guy from Arizona, retrieved your disc for you, and now Cam's thinking, well, I can do that, right?
that is exactly what he was thinking, but just a tad low. I mean, I almost would have put money that he was making that. And Henry just right off the top, getting an unfortunate roll away. Not too far, but definitely not happy with that.
So Adam, who's pin high but right of the pin, pushing back at it and just squeaks it over. That's a solid putting stroke. It seems like he's been a little bit off and on with his putting stroke here. When he's on, he's dialed, and that one might give him a little extra oomph as we move into the last few holes.
Yeah, definitely a good connection. Put him 4 ahead of us yet again. A great par putt for Henry, making sure that he doesn't take any extra strokes with the roll away.
Full confidence, bag on the shoulder. I like it.
Yeah, definitely a fun card to play with. Everybody was pumping each other up. Nobody was really kind of like too down on themselves or being mopey, which is really, really awesome for a card. So
Relatively short hole at 262. As usual, we've got some OB to contend with, and in this case, it's pretty tight to the left-hand side of the fairway where you can find the sidewalk or the road itself as OB.
right, sidewalk left is OB, which is going to be almost every hole out here that plays on this grass with the hill on the left side. So you want to kind of just throw a straight shot that just stays on the hillside to give yourself an uphill putt. I'm throwing a rhino here, just hard on a nice flat angle to make sure that it doesn't turn over too much and gives myself a nice little 20-footer. Henry throwing that same putter. He's super good with and putting it exactly, like I said, on the hillside, inside the circle. Should be a pretty easy tap in.
And now something that some people may have noted as this course has expanded, they've added additional baskets, and we're moving into the back, and Adam taking full advantage this hole and the previous hole. These are Mach 3s, which have since then been discontinued, but this is a Mach 3 with that really deep basket and a lot more chain to it.
Yep, I was hitting a little high on that one, but since we're on these new baskets, it's it's sticking a little easier.
And to kind of permanently timestamp this, yeah, it was in the last few months that DGA has announced, and that one slides out on Henry, but DGA has announced that they're discontinuing the production of the Mach 3, which is a basket I started on more than 25 years ago.
No, that's some crazy info.
So Cam's going to clean up for the birdie. Henry's going to be left out of the star frame. And as you mentioned on the last hole, Adam still has that 4-stroke advantage. And you and Cam, do you realize just how close you guys are at this point?
We definitely knew exactly where we were according to score. Definitely pushing us a little harder to kind of make sure that we birdied every hole on this back part of the course. This hole playing super tough, 421, and the OB was everywhere. The basket's kind of at the end of this little OB peninsula to the right of the basket, and in order to park the hole, it was absolutely 400 feet of straight power with the disc that didn't have any right turn or left turn.
Yeah, I'm almost pin high as I kind of eventually jitter over to the basket there. I'm about pin high on the catch, and this is blind from the tee. Is that correct for you guys?
Generally,
Or
yes.
almost?
Once you get to the end of the tee pad, you can see the basket, but running all the way up the tee pad, you cannot see it. So it's half blind up the run up, and once you get to the end, you can see it, but it's hiding behind this tree and the OB hill right in front of it.
And too much turn could put you in the landscaped area, which is out of bounds, and then not enough turn could put you up on the OB sidewalk. So, as you said, it kind of funnels down to the pin, and this is what most would consider a bonus birdie.
Yeah, as you see, all of us kind of landing a little short and not really risking too much of the OB because that's the last thing we want to do at this moment in the game. And just giving ourselves a nice soft pitch up to the basket for the easy three.
A long jumper.
From about 80.
Yes.
And when that went in, we were all super amped for him. I mean, none of us in our right mind were thinking, yeah, 2 on this hole, let's go. And he just had it at the right height the whole way. And as you can see, he is jazzed about it.
And it feels at this point, just about every one of you now has canned an incredible putt, at least once.
From almost the same distance.
Oh, you almost answer and follow up.
It would have been definitely a nice one to hit after seeing Henry do it. It definitely gave me a little bit more confidence. And Cam saving his par there, not liking the putt, but sticking it in. Those newer baskets.
It doesn't have to be pretty, right? It
Nope.
doesn't have to be pretty.
Nope. No pictures on a scorecard.
So the bonus birdie from way downtown, I think that was back in, I don't know, Scottsdale, wherever Henry released that from. But and to put a little note on it, as you're double checking the scoop, Maricopa is a good, 45 minutes?
Almost.
From Scottsdale area, to kind of put Maricopa on the map for those who may not be familiar with Arizona geography. 45 minutes, maybe an hour?
I would say 45 minutes south of Phoenix, down the 10 freeway. I'd say directly in between Tucson and Phoenix from where I'm at is at Tucson.
Okay.
And Henry throwing a great shot there, 421 feet. This one takes all the turnover hyzer power, obviously, that Adam's got. Risking the OB over there. Staying safe, fortunately.
Yeah, this course certainly, I feel like I'm not out of line by saying this sets up a little better for the righty backhand, hyzer thrower, where it feels like, of course, there's OB on every single hole, but I'd rather be right-handed than left-handed. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you that this course is a righty course for sure. The OB is always on the left side, so you can always hang it a little wider with the hyzer, and the lines definitely are more shaped for the right-handed player. You do have the lefty shot from time to time, and those lefty shots can be very difficult for a righty player, so it can even out, but most of the shots are favored for the righty hyzer.
Solid straddle out to his left for Hammis there. You're about the same distance.
Yeah, I felt a little juiced on that one. Really wanted to make that. Downhill putts can be a little tough with my style, and just a little high.
And that was actually going to be a question as we're watching Cam line up his. His is uphill and off the mark as he waves at it. But where would you say your putting influence came from, if anyone or anywhere?
10 years ago when I started, it probably would have been more around the Ricky range of kind of getting the hand down, but I kind of developed it all on my own in between, watching everybody play. And a little lesson to the amateurs out there that are trying to learn new forms and stuff. Watch these videos, watch these players that are really good at the game, and kind of you can mimic them and make your own style, but using their type of style can help you develop a really nice form and making sure that your putts are solid every time.
I know we see Henry with the honors. He sits 8 back at Adam. So right now he's just trying to find where he can comfortably remain in the cash, as he's not, on a hunt to get Adam. And then you and Cam really seem to be battling out for what you guys assume is second place right now.
Yeah, we both know that we're kind of really close to each other. We don't know exactly where we're at, but we know we're very, very close. So all these short holes here, this being 241 feet and wide open right and left, you are definitely looking at this to be a must-get.
Yeah, and I'll admit that's a really unique way for Cam to go at this hole. I have never seen someone take the forehand as a righty player on this hole. I just feel like it brings that road into play when you really don't need to. He threw a great shot, but it's somewhat unorthodox.
Yeah, and it definitely shows that he's probably a little more comfortable throwing forehands. Just barely off for Adam. Connecting on a nice putt after missing a short one before. It always feels good, and keeping myself right there with everybody.
Good putt as he was flirting with that OB sidewalk on the left side.
Sure, he's definitely stoked to get that birdie after the drive. And a tap in for Cam.
Making it easy. Not quite good enough for CGP, but making it easy.
Yeah, that was real close.
Now we move over to 24. This is one of the longer holes on the course, but yet I've definitely seen a birdie. Anthony Barella, Adam Hammes in years past have come to mind. Paul Ulibarri, I think I've seen get this. This is a crush though.
Henry Manahan, geez, look at this. That is about as good as it gets without having total Ricky or Paul power. Cam has the power to get this there for sure. He just kind of misreleased. And still getting almost there with the branch.
Yeah, and as he was postulating that maybe it would have got there had he not clipped the branch. You take a deep breath. What are you throwing here?
I'm throwing an R Pro Boss, and if I get it there, this is all the power I have. Which, kind of get it close, I'm probably still 50, 60 short, which is just fine for me. Adam throwing a force, and I think he got this a little too high, letting the air get under it. Maybe a little lower, this thing would have got all the way to the basket, but putting himself at circle's edge.
Yeah, like you said, you're probably maybe 50, 55 short, but you do have a pretty open look from there. That tree doesn't really come into play from that angle, does it?
No, and I gave up on it before I let it go.
Okay.
It's one of those
We're being honest here, right?
Yeah, you don't really want the comebacker, and it's late in the round. You're just kind of giving up, taking the par. And Cam definitely wanted that, but again, like I'm saying, we're at hole 24. It's been a really long day. A couple backups here and there, so we're probably about almost the 4th hour here into the round. And Henry almost connecting on the awesome birdie. And Adam here from circle's edge to pick up a huge stroke.
Yeah, longest drive of the group, and puts himself about pin high.
Awesome birdie.
And as he said, you don't know if we can say it any better. He said, that's the stroke I've been looking for all day. You could just tell it was confident, it was clean, and it was just right on the pole. So great birdie by Adam.
Yeah, and what a time to get the stroke, right?
Yeah, kind of trying to close the door on you guys, thinking, all right, I don't want anything crazy to happen, and I kind of want to shut the door, or at least, mentally shut you guys down, as we just have a few holes left to play.
That's my thing.
Flavor of the day?
Strawberry.
Why strawberry?
You gotta have a little sugar on your plain bagel, I think. And a little sugar to pick me up.
And you go with a plain bagel?
Yeah, I'm allergic to onions, so pretty big bummer.
For all you who didn't know.
Being allergic to onions sucks.
That's what I try and do. I bring a little insight from our players, and that was well before we knew you'd be joining us for commentary, but glad to know strawberry is the way to go, and you're allergic to onions. That's going to be a trivia question later. I guarantee it, folks. So write it in your notebook.
Yeah, look out for that Smashbox disc TV, Smashbox free disc.
You got it. Big drive by Adam. Yeah, and here's Henry.
Oh yeah, throwing a great drive. That culvert right there that he's almost leaking into, that's OB right there. So it kind of plays as a trick hole. You have to get all 431 feet of distance to get the birdie look, or you want to try to lay yourself to the right or short.
Yeah, I've seen that culvert kind of just sneak up on players, not realizing like, oh, that's the one place I can't land. And thankfully, Henry was just short of it.
Yep, and I'm just trying to get all the way there and make sure I stay right so I don't flirt with the OB. And I hung it a little too far right, but again, not really trying to attack too much with that culvert being there. Henry is smartly laying up. And I'm thinking, maybe I could give this a good run.
Uphill, you got a backstop.
And I put it up in the air and just making the worst mistake.
Why now, as you say? Yeah, you wanted it, and that's sometimes the price you pay.
Yep. And Cam just taking advantage of the opportunity at hand with a nice circle 2 putt. Awesome birdie with the OB being right behind it.
And talk about maybe a little bit of the chess match. Adam's frustrated.
Very angry at that car.
Drive like that.
But the chess match a little bit, I was saying, here you and Cam so close, and he's able to capitalize. He sees you make the mistake, and then he capitalizes, makes the solid putt, and just like that, you guys have a 2-stroke difference between you.
Yeah, and it's hard to do. Very, very unfortunate for me, but you got to keep playing the game and not let it affect you. Cam throwing a really good shot on this hole. This is the mandatory around this orange pole here. Only 240, so you just want to make sure and get it high enough with the spike, with a forehand or a nice putter turnover, and not leak too long to go beyond the sidewalk.
This is the first forehand we're seeing by Henry, and it had a good angle. Just too powerful, huh?
Yeah, I think he threw a Firebird. I'm grabbing the same thing and throwing on almost the same exact line and made the same exact mistake. Just barely long. And that's the mistake you don't want to make on this hole. It's elevated, so now I'm left with this 30-footer for par.
That was dirty. That could have stayed in for you.
And we're back to these baskets, where I think the Mach 2s. You got to be soft and center. And Henry making the opposite mistake, hitting left side. And me and him are going to have to, unfortunately, take the bogey. Cam hitting the awesome birdie. Uphill, that basket must have been at least 10 to 15 feet higher than he was at.
Yeah, and just how quickly things have changed in this race for second place. What you guys believe will be second place at least. Cam ultimately getting 4 strokes on you in the last 2 holes, and just kind of pulling away and trying to secure his spot.
Oh, and he's definitely doing it. Yeah, it's this game we play. Sometimes you have some good breaks and you have some bad breaks, and you just got to roll with the punches and kind of take it as it is. And no matter what happens at the end or beginning of any rounds, you gotta just deal with the punches and kind of move on and play this game that we love.
And there we see the chase card. That was Austin Hannum lining up his putt. On the tee, 2 things that we had kind of confirmed or learned. One being, as we're watching Adam throw a beautiful flex shot, but One was that we heard Clint Kelvin was playing phenomenal. We had heard all sorts of scores about what he was doing. And secondly, right as this tee shot was about to happen, I had just caught wind of the possible unfortunate news about Kobe Bryant and the helicopter
Yeah,
crash, actually, which was, not exactly a light mood because it was very unconfirmed, but and we all know that went on to become confirmed, unfortunately. But kind of an interesting timestamp here on this tee pad.
yeah, it was very unfortunate, and there was a couple people on the card that were pretty crushed by it. So it was kind of a weird mood or aura on the card there. But we all throw pretty generally awesome drives off the tee for where you want to be on this hole. And Cam gets this awful kick off the curb, and he does not like that disc anymore.
That was a good shot.
As he says, it was a good shot, very heartbreaking,
That's so frustrating.
as he gets curbed. And there's Henry waiting for the traffic as well, as he's about to possibly flirt with the road.
Throwing a perfect forehand, skipping right up to the basket, hitting that soft grass and sticking him right there. Great shot, Henry.
You're going to follow up with a forehand as well.
Saw him throw the Firebird, said maybe I'll try the same thing. I got it over a little too much and left myself with a little longer putt than I want, but right in bounds.
Yeah, this green really narrows down. It kind of funnels to a little peninsula, and Adam's trying to almost stick it for the eagle.
Yeah, great upshot from Adam.
So now Cam's got some work to do after going out of bounds.
In the basket would be real cool.
Not that he's asking too much.
Yeah, he put it close, and that's all you can ask for after going OB from your upshot. It's unfortunate, but getting yourself close on the next shot is important. Oh. Having to swallow a par at the final hole.
Yeah, so you're going to finish at 23 under par, which will actually turn out to be a 5th place finish for you. And we're going to wrap things up here, guys, as we're watching the final tap outs. I want to say thank you again, Nick. Thank you for providing your services and the commentary and the great play. And I think I catch up with Adam Hammis, who is ultimately your champion here at the 2020 Maricopa Open, presented by Infinite Disc. Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations to Adam Hammis for the solid play all weekend.
I'm the Disc Golf Guy, and that was my video blog. I'm joined here by Adam Hammis, our champion. And Adam, I've been in Arizona 2 weekends out of the last 3 weeks, and both times you've been crowned champion. Not a bad start to the 2020 season.
I'm coming out strong this year. I want to make a statement, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready to get on the road and start playing some NTs and Pro Tours and stuff like that.
So you've spent some time down here in Arizona. I think at the Shelley Sharp you said that Wisconsin winters were no longer a thing for you. Anything you did down here in the off season?
I worked on some particular shots. Like this off season, I worked on fan grips, so I can have like touch mid ranges and touch putters, and it's really been helping. And then just playing constantly and just constantly being on the course is good to maintain your game.
Yeah, well, you were able to take in some of the gorgeous weather we had. Now, we didn't see you shoot the scorching round to open the tournament, but anything you want to recap on that for everyone?
I started out really hot, and today was a little bit of a struggle, but I held on.
All right, well, we're going to see you out on the road, traveling around. You've spent some time here in the off-season with Anthony Barella, but I don't think we're going to see him joining you, or are we?
I don't think we'll be touring together. We might team up for a couple events here and there, but I'm not really sure what his plans are at the moment.
Your Maricopa Open champion is Adam Hammis. We're going to wish him the best of luck on the entire tour throughout the 2020 season. We'll catch you guys next time.